Oh my God. Okay. So Lexi, we joined this, thing, and now you've got us recording here. So you said you want to do a podcast? What's going on? Why do you want us to do a podcast?
Well, we wanted to start a podcast to talk about the space. We have a huge industry that almost, I feel like, never gets publicly discussed except for between us. We always talk about it all the time, but we don't get to talk about it with others and share what not only we know, but what others in our team know.
Yeah.
We have a wide team, a wide array of knowledge. They're all incredibly smart. And I think we need to share a lot of that with the world.
Okay.
We want to talk about.
Why'd you pick these two goofballs? Like, why are you asking us to do it? Like, it sounds like you've got this whole thing planned out.
Well, internally, I do. I wanted to pick you two lovely goofballs because you two have the most knowledge and the most comfortability with being public facing as of now. Hopefully, we'll get the rest of the team later.
You think? I don't know. Like, that's a lot of compliments for people that are under. Maybe you deserve it. I don't know, but not me. Okay. All right. That's fair enough. So what's this podcast going to be about? What are we going to be talking about? Like,
The future of procurement is moving at Mach speed 1, and the complexity of RFPs and rapid fire evolution of AI just continues to go without us even really having a hand on it. So figuring out compliance hurdles or automation, and we're not just talking about the future of tech, we're making sure you're ready to control it.
I don't know, Bryan, I think she's right. Like, there's a whole lot of stuff out there, but I don't know. It feels like, isn't there some sort of a podcast on this already? No? Why not? Like, you're right. I mean, it's pretty crazy that it's a much bigger sector than I think a lot of people may realize.
For sure.
Like, I know I've got like topics that I'll get on my soapbox, but we got to figure out a way to make it to where it's like other people than just Bryan and I talking. Like who's going to be on this thing? Is it?
Well, I want to bring in people like Christina from Stargazy. We have a bunch of people from APMP lined up, a bunch of people from our own internal Rocket Docs team.
All right, fair enough.
We've got a list.
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna need y'all to make sure that we get actual, actual people that people really want to hear from, right? Because y'all know I have a tendency to talk way too much. So, all right.
Well,
that sounds like it's good. So, Bryan, what do you think? Like, should we do this thing or what? Like, how should this work?
I'm pretty excited to talk to a bunch of people about all the stuff I hear every week. So, a lot of stuff's changing.
Okay, Lexi, I think basically like we're agreeing to do it. Okay, so I mean, how much money are you going to pay us though for
nothing?
You have to do very, very, very good demand.
Is there an advertising? Are we sponsored?
All right. What's it going to be called? What are we calling this?
Ground Control by Rocket Docs.
Ground Control.
Nice.
All right, I get it. It's got the Rocket Docs. Space Houston ground control, controlling the systems. Yeah, knowledge management, ability to. Okay, I get it. All right. Okay. All right. I've got like two more questions for you, Lexi, before we really decide to do this thing. So, how long are these podcasts going to be? Like, how long? Like, is this like somebody supposed to like tune in for like 30 minutes or 60 minutes? What's the
we don't want to keep you too long, but enough to get on a walk. Go on the treadmill. Listen as you walk. That's what I like to do.
Okay, I think that works. All right, Bryan. I think I'm kind of sold on this. It may be too late since I'm already in here, but
I think we should do it. Sounds.
All right. You're gonna rep from South Florida. I'll rep from Central Texas.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think then you've got your ground control team. And I don't know. That sounds like a plan. Lexi, I think this idea is great. We need an incredible intro.
I would agree.
Any ideas?
I'm thinking something like, the future of procurement is moving at Mach speed 1 between the complexity of RFPs and the rapid fire evolution of AI. You need a steady hand at the helm. Welcome to Ground Control. I'm joined by your leads for this mission, Perry Robinson and Bryan Jenkins. They're here to bridge the gap between traditional proposal management and the high-tech future. We aren't just talking about the future of tech. We're making sure you're ready to control it. Ground control is officially online. Let's get to work.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
Well, good thing the first question is to both of you. If every competitor starts to use AI to automate the RFPs and they all start sounding the same, how does our tech go beyond answering the question and shaping the requirement so that the competitor looks like they're just using a template?
Ooh. Bryan, you want to start?
Yeah, I could take it. So I hear about this all the time. I'm doing tons of calls every day with all different types of proposal teams. And a lot of them are using tools that are integrating AI like really fast. But a lot of them, I don't really think about the fact that that information might be getting shared. And a lot of them are concerned about security, but a lot of them aren't concerned about the responses starting to sound like every other applicant to that same RFP. So over time, right, people are starting to notice M dashes. Are you guys seeing those everyone?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Surefire sign of AI.
Seeing it.
Signature AI.
Like, have you guys seen if it's not this, it's that? Like, there's a lot of thing with negatives. I can't unsee it now. All over LinkedIn. Like, I haven't seen one.
It's like when you,
it's bad.
it's like when you get one of those places where like the nail starts popping out
Mhm.
of your wall and you see it for the first time, then you can't unsee it.
Yep.
Right? Like it's this signature aspect that happens, I think, based on the way that LLMs are trained, and no matter where they're coming from, maybe it's a little bit, the same. I think not just the way that they're written, though, it's also, the challenge is that over time, how many come all these different flavors. It's just like, like Madagascar vanilla, homestyle vanilla, traditional vanilla, all vanilla. I don't know. It's kind of going towards like a place where answers could potentially just kind of, become uncompetitive.
Yeah. I think any normal written response that differentiates a little bit is going to stand out, I think.
Yeah.
Because all of them are going to be formatted the same, with the same length and the same tone and the same, all of that. So,
well, this is why I think that it becomes really important that people are really thinking about where they're sourcing the information that's being used by AI to actually have any of that content come from like any number of different sources, like come from all sorts of places, right? But where are the places that it shouldn't come from? Well, sometimes it's going to be the internet. Don't source it from the internet. It may not be accurate, but don't source it from the internet because it's the same place that your competitor can go grab the information as well. And so there are a number of different solutions that are RAG-based, right, which is just retrieval augmented generation, which is a fancy way of saying that it's accessing a specific set of information that you tell it to go and retrieve it from and build your answer from. And that's different because at the very least, maybe you're continuing to just grab your own content and that's it. So I don't know, maybe then we've got like at least like, vanilla plus strawberry and chocolate and we're off to the races for at least having an ice cream sundae. I don't know.
That's great. I love the analogy. Bryan, in a market where every AI generated pitch sounds perfect, how does a sales leader prove that their answers are backed by a verified library of truth rather than just an algorithm?
oh, that's a good point. I mean,
dude, she's testing you, man.
very low question. Like, but yeah, I think that it's kind of tied back to the point that we were just talking about. But like, how do you find your own voice when it's so easy to just take AI's voice? Like I'm noticing it across all different types of companies where people are struggling with efficiency versus, being able to be true to what the message they actually want to write. I saw somebody on LinkedIn post, I'd rather you write your bullet points. That makes me respect you a little bit more than you'd put that into AI and have it rewrite you a LinkedIn post because like, I don't truly know who the LLM is. Like, I'd rather hear your take on it. So I think like sales leaders and just leaders in general moving forward, it's going to mean so much more if you can actually have your own voice, write a certain way. Like it's gonna be like when you watch a movie that's not a blockbuster movie that's produced with like a remake of Toy Story 5. It's like it's the same story over and over and over again until people stop going. But randomly, when you get a movie at Sundance, it's like, whoa, that is a really unique take on something. It's going to shine so much more. So
Yeah, that's a great.
What do you think, though? I think it's hard to do. Like, I think because going to AI is really easy. Like, it's nice to write a cover letter real fast and then just be done with it.
Yeah.
Well, on that end, though, I mean, to that point, like, people who are typically the ones that are answering RFPs, right? And even the SME experts, the folks that are, they're pinging and signing off on stuff. It's, the folks in, compliance or legal or privacy, or the folks on the product side, right? Everybody's really busy. And so I get the desire to go and kind of jump into the, easiest, fastest solution. But Bryan, I mean, you're on the sales side. What's what's in your mind when you're trying to, crank things out? I know you've done a great job of like thinking about ways to, like hand write or hand draw out things so that people know that this is original content from you, right? But inside of an RFP space, right, and with the compressed timelines, like there's got to be some sort of a balance between being able to leverage AI and not losing what makes your company special. Like, so have you thought about what that would be?
Yeah, I mean, it ties into me like a lot when I'm talking to people, because when people are looking for tools, like when I do discovery calls and stuff, a lot of them are looking for like an AI first approach. But I realized like something that we did, which is not to toot our own horn, but I think really helping with that is the fact that we're actually helping people find their answers in their voice before we're going to AI. So I think what that's doing is help save people time, but also allows them to spend a little bit more time customizing responses, like making them more human, using AI, right, to the extent that it helps, but also not relying on it so much that you lose, your voice and what makes you win all these deals and be a great RFP.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's a great answer. And kind of going into the opposite point is we've seen a lot of companies, especially over the past couple of years, start to implement AI policies that are so restrictive that their teams just kind of go back to manual work, or worse, they go to shadow AI and they go to unimproved sources. How did you guys build a governance framework that actually accelerates a deal instead of becoming a place where innovation goes to die?
Yeah, I'll jump in on this one for a bit. Yeah, I mean, like, I think that the key part is that there's a statistic that's out there, right? Something like 90% of companies are being told to adopt AI.
Yep.
Right? But only 20% of them actually trust the AI solutions that are out there. And typically that statistic and that odd variance, right? Where there's such a small group that actually feel like they can use AI, people are saying like, oh, that's wrong, right? There should be a much larger group of companies or people that are already trusting of AI. And I actually think it's the right approach for them to take, to actually question whether AI is appropriate to use and which AI tool to use. And so when those restrictive policies come into effect, right? Like I've heard a couple of people say like, oh my gosh, like we need to just, get rid of this scenario where inside of a company, they create an AI task force, right? And instead just wipe it out and just go out and let anybody build anything. And, like I saw a LinkedIn post from a guy I used to work with that said exactly that. And he was talking about all this great stuff that he's done to build all these tools and how the tools are very productive for him. Now he's the chief revenue officer inside of this company, right? And for him to do it, right, that's just one person. Maybe there's like 5 other leaders that do it. But if he's got a team of 20 people and they each go out and build their own tooling, then we start to talk about places where it's like, well, wait, like you're not only losing the capability to know what AI is being used for and how it's being used and is it being vetted, right? But you also have different types of ways that people are actually doing their work and you're getting different results. I think there's a process breakdown. So even though he was saying like, hey, this is really great to be able to just go out and do it, we need to scrap, the AI governance committee. I actually think the AI governance committee is the committee that's been formed to make it to where you can adopt tools that do work for you. So to get back to your question, like what we did is we came in like we do with any product we build. And we said, we know our customers, right? They're heavily regulated businesses, right? So they're inside of life sciences, financial services, right? Healthcare. They're inside of insurance. They have regulations that apply to them, to how they operate. What do they need from AI to be able to use it, right? What do they need to have it meet as far as standards go? So for us, it was an easy call. It actually was hard work to build, but it was an easy call. So what we did is we said, let's go ahead and make it to where there's a tool that they can adopt and can get approved by the security teams. So it's, an IP stack that we own. So we own our AI IP stack, right? We deploy it inside of each customer's, virtual private cloud, right? So it's being run on their instance. And so it's not going out to OpenAI or to Anthropic or to some random place. And then in addition to that, they've got the capability to control where the source of information is coming from that's feeding that AI. So that it's not, going out to the internet, but it's also not drawing in from the internet. And that's a little bit of a sacrifice because the internet's full of lots of really cool information. Sometimes that means that our AI is going to return no answer. But we told it to do that. It should tell you no answer when it has no answer. If it goes to the internet and makes it up, maybe it's grabbing the information that's not yours, it's a competitor's. And how embarrassing would that be to like, oops, I accidentally reported like the rate, the financial performance, not that's ours, but that's our biggest competitors. I mean, that would be a huge miss. So I think it just comes down, Lexi, like you build what people need to be able to get approved to use, at least if you're dealing with businesses that are more mature, right, and are actually concerned about giving, the right information at the right time.
And kind of following up on that, how did you, within building that governance framework, how did you also make something that doesn't just check for answers, but also protects our customers' actual voice?
Bryan, none of you want to
Yeah.
happy to.
Yeah, I'll take it. I mean, I think our approach is like a little bit different than a lot of other AI approaches. Like, we didn't say like, let's replace humans altogether and immediately go like into generating new AI responses for every question that we get. That wasn't our goal. I think our goal was to kind of empower humans. We call it human in the loop. So back to that, like to keep the voice, like rather than just regenerating a response every time, we're trying to find the response that you like, that you use most often first, before we generate anything, before we kill a bunch of trees and processing power to rewrite, that stuff, or use a ton of water, right? The water parks for water to reject an answer we already have. So it's twofold benefits to that. Like one, you're using less resources, but two, you're finding your own voice first. And then you're using AI to fill in the gaps, which can then be tailored into your voice as well. So I think that's the way you do that.
Awesome. I love that answer. This is also going back to both of you. In enterprise tech, the most dangerous hallucination isn't a wrong date. It's a security claim that sounds plausible, but is technically impossible. How did y'all build a culture of skepticism in a sales team that is being incentivized for speed?
Ooh, a culture of skepticism.
How does y'all implement that human in the loop?
Yeah. I think it's a look. It's not that it's a culture of skepticism generally, right? I think it's just it's an appropriate approach to understanding where the current state of AI technology is. Like go into ChatGPT or go into Claude, right? And you'll see somewhere in the bottom or in small print that says like, hey, this is an AI and don't just trust its answers. They're telling you, right? These companies that are worth like $1 trillion each, right, are telling you don't trust our technology right now. And the reason is because these are still, even though they're pervasive, they're still early stage. And a lot of people don't necessarily understand that the way AI works is that it's not that it's intelligent and able to tell you answers to things. It's able to source answers from enormous data sets and then put it into a way that matches very closely with what our prompt is asking for, because of innate understanding in the LLM and the large language model is an innate understanding of what we're asking and what might be a good answer. And so it has a really, really high rate of return on what look like really, really good answers.
Yeah.
But they're so good, I would argue that you have to have that skepticism to challenge whether it's actually true or not. Because if you don't know the information well enough, right, you may not actually be able to tell. It's that good. So that goes to another part, which I'll just lay on really quickly, which is that it's not just about having the human in the loop. It's about, in these types of scenarios, having the human in the loop in a system-based approach, right? So I'm not just going to say, like, I'm going to review this. I'm going to say, who needs to review this? And who needs to approve this? So if you asked me, Perry, to look at an answer to a very, very difficult question related to a medical device manufacturer and certain engineering components, and it talks about details about electricity and voltage, or I don't know, stuff that I don't understand, it would look like it's the right answer. You don't want me reviewing it. I am not the human that needs to be in that loop. But there's probably somebody inside of the product team who is, or inside of the reg affairs team that is, and they need to review it. So when we talk about human in the loop, it's not just a human in the loop, it's the right human in the loop. And that loop is actually a process. And the process is one in which you already take an approved answer and get to skip straight to the front of the class, right? Or you take a generated answer and you have it get approved by the right subject matter expert. And then the great part about that is if you're using us, then that automatically gets to go in to your approved question answer response. So the next time around, your engineer on the product team or your person who's the reg affairs person, they don't have to look at it a second time. They've now reviewed it, they've determined whether it needs to be modified or whether it's good to go. They've signed off on it, and all the records are kept. So you get all the benefits of AI, but that skepticism is what delivers confidence that when you submit something, you're submitting something of quality.
Amazing answer. That was great.
I mean, have you guys seen like AI videos now and how like you kind of have to be skeptic just because of what they can do? Like it's
Absolutely.
did that really happen? Like, have you seen the animal videos where there's like
all the time,
like the house cat like saves the baby from a mountain lion? Like I saw 3 of those videos and
It's real.
wait a minute, like this can't be real. But the first one I saw, I was like, wow, that is very timely.
Amazing cat.
Right?
Yep.
What a good house cat. That's my house cat. That's what you're supposed to figure out.
It's really difficult. There are folks that have actually had videos of themselves, like folks that are in Congress that they're like, wait, I didn't say that.
Yep.
They had to question for just a second, was that me? Right? I didn't say that. And then it goes a little bit further, like I know I didn't say that part, right? And so that's not hallucinations, by the way, right? So as we're talking about this stuff, just in terms of kind of thinking back to the basics on some of it, right? When we talk about AI hallucinating, we're talking about it making stuff up, and this is making stuff up, but it's doing it on purpose, not because it's just getting something wrong. The challenge is that you can potentially get both, I think, when you're using an AI tool for RFP response. And one last thing I'm going to say is, like, on that end, it's just I'm going to go ahead and put the plug in real quick right now for, like, understand the tool that you use and know that the tool that you're using is the one that you need for that job. There are times, absolutely, when I'll go and I'll use a Claude or I'll use a ChatGPT. But for me, that tends to be an area where I'm like I need something to help me figure out dinner, right? Or I need a better way to put together some notes on like what the kids' schedule is for pickup and drop off and sporting events and that sort of thing. Places I don't want to use that are places where I have sensitive, competitive information, confidential information that's mine, or maybe isn't mine, maybe it's a customer's of mine, or belongs to a person, right? So PII, those are places where I worry about where it goes. And so I definitely I'm thinking about who should I use for what, And it's the thing really important at the end of the day. Like, there's a place where you have to say, like, how do I check to see and know what that is? And if you go into Claude, right, or you're using ChatGPT, like, you know right off the bat, it's Anthropic, right, or it's OpenAI. And there are times I get frustrated with the ping pong that they have about, like, we're going to use your data, we're not going to use your data, we're going to use your data. If you pay us, we're not going to use it. You know, like, I don't know what it is, but at least I know I can go to that one spot and see what it is. I think the danger, like, say, obviously ends up being inside of the spaces where it's solutions that are out there and who's actually behind their AI.
Yeah. Yep. That's a great point. And this kind of segues into our next question, which is also a final question. In a world where everyone has access to the same LLMs, the same models, everyone's on ChatGPT Plus, is the real winner the one with the biggest algorithm or the one with the best library?
That was a leading question.
I think it's the library, right? Like, the AI is not able to do it on its own.
Yep.
So, look, inside of our space, there are all sorts of different providers out there, and I categorize them in two different areas. So there's orchestration folks, and there are ones that are generative AI first. And nothing against the folks that are generative AI first. They're great for, like, if you own a small air conditioning company and you're bidding for the local elementary school contract, like, there may not be enough budget in there, additional budget after you pay for your people and everything else for you to be able to afford to pay for a full-time tool. And you maybe don't do this very often. So, like, going in and using some of these solutions that are out there, AutoGen AI, OneUp, that sort of thing, like, those folks, like, they're good for a little tiny company, right? I just need you to write an answer. Where that's not good is if you're an established company, or you're one where your reputation's incredibly important, or you're regulated as a company, and all of a sudden, the information that's coming in to feed those answers, like, where's it coming from? You need to have that library of really strong information to feed the right, responses. And if you don't have it just from the perspective, like, no, don't worry, I'm going to go in and correct everything. Well, okay, like, you can use that other tool and it creates stuff and you can go in and rewrite everything. But then I'm not sure why you wouldn't just, save the money and just write it. And while I'm on that point, let me quickly say, I don't know why you would go and pay for a lot of those other providers that are just providing you a slick interface in front of OpenAI or a Microsoft AI tool or an Anthropic AI tool, because, like, you can get those a lot cheaper by buying them direct.
Right.
Just like, look, Microsoft Copilot says right on the face of it, unless you have a very special license, like, we will access, use, and own your data. Like, they say it very, very blatantly.
Yeah.
Some of the other solutions, it's a little bit tough. You have to get into the license. OpenAI and Anthropic have various different changes on whether they're going to use your data. What you know for sure is that they're data hungry. So you have to think about that part. But you're still going to get the same issues, but you're going to be paying a company that doesn't have control of that stuff. You're going to have a lag, and you're going to be getting charged a lot more money. So when you move into the orchestration providers, here's the thing. It's not the algorithm, it's the knowledge base, because at the end of the day, like, all of those providers have relatively similar technology in terms of question answer matching. This is AI technology and machine learning, but it's stuff that we've all been deploying for decades, right? On the generative AI side, then the last part that, for me, I always recommend people look at is, like, okay, when you're looking at what they're doing from a generative AI perspective, what are they deploying their AI from? Is it theirs? Is it using your knowledge? Is it able to source information from the internet? If it does, how will you know? Right? Those are the first ones. Those help to answer the questions. The second evaluation point, though, is thinking about, it's like, can I share my information with them? Can I trust them to be able to maintain the contractual commitments that they've said they have about the security and confidentiality of my information, even though they're just one of millions of customers that are being served by these behemoths, which are, again, the largest companies in the world: Anthropic, OpenAI, Microsoft. Right? We're literally talking about some of the largest, most powerful companies in the world. They're changing policy inside of the United States at a federal level to make it to where there aren't state level laws on AI, because they literally went into the White House, they sat down with the president, and they said, this is the way we'd like it to be. So is your little software provider that has like a, 10 or 20 million dollars in revenue a year, or even some little bit more than that, going to be able to go and say, hey, OpenAI, I know you guys just said that you're changing terms and now you want to access the data because you need to have more data to train your next LLMs on, but I don't think that's allowed. I don't think they're going to answer the question, let alone read it, right? So you're going to end up getting a notice from your provider that says something along the lines of, starting, on May 31st, if you continue using the system, your information will be XYZ. It's going to be shared, stored, trained on, whatever it is. And if you don't think that that's going to happen, for any of the skeptics, folks, go to Atlassian, right? A provider of Jira and Confluence, a very critical tool for a lot of enterprise businesses. They just announced a few days ago, guess what they're doing? They're training on your data almost 100%. There's a couple of exclusions. You have to be at their highest paid license level, and then you have to actually opt out both, and within a certain period of time. And if not, then all of that critical internal information that you were using their pretty cool AI for, Robo, right, to go and do things that are relating to the core engineering of your, in your business, right? Your code. That's going towards core information in Confluence, stored about your internal standard operating procedures, your HR things, like all this stuff that's actually pretty sensitive information. And Atlassian, a very successful company, decided to go, and just like that, they're like, and they're giving people time. It's until August, right? 2026.
Yeah.
But starting August 2026, if you're not at that license level and you don't opt out, your information is now theirs.
Insane. But
so knowledge base, the content that you have, much more critical. There's always safe technologies you can use that don't include those very, very data hungry technology providers.
do your research.
Do your research.
All right. Well, that is all we have for ground control today.
Awesome.
Ground control is officially going offline. Let's get to work.